My name is Stella. I'm 55, going 56 next year, and I'm originally from Cameroon. I moved here to Canada in 2011, and it was different coming from, hot climate into the minus temperatures I never seen before. But right now, and I thought, okay, I don't think somebody could feel heat in this country, but yeah, it's happening. It's been very cold, but nice, and I'm adapting and up to where we are now. So far, everything's good. To be honest, when I came here, I didn't know there was sun in Canada. I was just coming, and people were like, "You're going to die in that place," because we only heard about Canada when it was minus 40 or something is happening, snow. But then I got here in October and there was sun, you know? So I decided to stand and make somebody take me a picture and my shadow. And I quickly sent it back to my friends and said, there's sun in that country. And then when the winter hit, it was like, ooh. Then when summer came, I was surprised because it's even hotter here than in Cameroon where I come from in the summer. It's really hot. Yeah, but then cooler and something, but now here we are, the menopause age. Every day is heat time, even in the winter. Yeah. So basically, yeah, it's I'm hot now all the time, like 24/7. Oh yeah, it's so I think my case of menopause is different because it was like forced. So I had a hysterectomy 10 years ago. So like one day I was having my period, and 3 weeks after they were taking my uterus out, and so it's been 10 gruesome years, and it's been at at the beginning it was really really that bad. It was kind of like a mental illness for me. I was like when the heat, I was having like attacks of heat. When the heat came, I want to tear up my clothes. I want to do this and that. And at the time, I was working at the bank, not at the bank like the front desk, but I was working in a financial institution. And on my floor, they had to put me near to the fridge, and they had all of these bags of ice in the fridge written like do not use, medical use only. And people who sat around me were trained to recognize, because when it happened, I was a little bit off. Like I would just be going like, oh, I'm dying. And then they'll bring those bag of ice, put them on me, throw water on me so that I feel better. I went away for surgery. I was away like for 2 months. And then I came back to work, and I was just telling my manager that this is what is happening. But she didn't really know how bad it was, right? Until when I had that first attack and everybody panicked because I was like holding my clothes, I was holding my head, I was shouting. And so they called the paramedics. When the paramedics came, I explained it to them and everything. And the paramedics were the one that told my manager that, okay, if this is how it's happening, this is what we need to do to make sure that she's okay. And they also advised me to go back, that they're going to write their own report, and I need to go back to my doctor to let him know that that's what is happening, which I did. And but the workplace was really good. They were very accommodating. Like my colleagues, they were always like, the one that was right next to me was always looking. If I started being like, she would just run, bring the bags. I had bottles of water, like ice. I used to move around with ice bottle. Like right now, I have my water in the bag. So I just move around with water because that's what helps me to cool down every time. I think that's just some kind of nonsense, right? Like, what do you mean they are not useful? I know I hear those things all the time, and it's usually from those kind of abusive men who say that if a man who is saying that just he's abusive in every sense of the word. It's not the menopause, it's not this, it's not that. They're trying to bring you down. It doesn't make sense. But at the workplace where I was at the time, my manager was a man, and he was very supportive. I think, I don't know, maybe if he had some thoughts in his head, he wouldn't say it because he saw me go every time like, whoa, 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 whoa. And the medical people were there, they talked about it. So people respected that. Everybody in the workplace respected the fact that, because maybe if they hadn't called 911 and the paramedics were not there, maybe people would have seen it in a different way. But when the paramedics were there and then they made all of those changes, moved me from where I was closer to the kitchen, keeping all of those things. And my manager was always like, Stella, are you okay? Are you, take your time? Like when I had it, I want to go back to the floor. Just relax, just take your time. So they were very supportive. And where I work now is the culture is very respectful. So somebody uses that kind of word in my organization now, no, he's at the door. He's going. It's a very leveled organization. You don't notice the hierarchy, right? Like I work in finance. Our CFO is on our floor. She's not up in some other, no, she's on our floor. So my manager is there, the director of finance is there, the CFO is there, all the managers, everybody's there. So we interact, we talk, so nobody would easily use that kind of displaced language. And if somebody used it in my environment, like in my community or among my friends, I'm the no nonsense one. I'll tell you straight away out. I call them out straight away. Yeah, I wouldn't take it. Well, it was really the hot flash, and then it would go into my head. And then when this happens, it would take like 30 minutes or more for me to really come back and be normal. And my doctor would not give me any medication because he said the medication that he can give me to help with that could cause more problems, So at some point it was really bad, and I went back and he gave me something ostrogel.
Like an estrogen gel?
Estrogen gel that I use on my laps. I'll put on my laps. It helped a little bit, but it's been 10 years. I'm still hot. I decided to follow my doctor's advice not to push too much for the hormones. He had talked about that stuff because the reason why they even took my uterus off at that point was because there's so much cancer in my family, in my mother's side. So because I told him about that when I was having all of those complications, he took it off. And so I didn't want to push too much from, because at some point he said, yeah, I can give you the medication, but I just explained to you what could be. So I thought, okay, if I'm running away from one thing, and then this medication might bring something in, so let me just be. But I survived, right? I survived. But the really bad thing is your sleep. You can't sleep like a normal person, because once the heat comes up, it wakes you up. So I wake up so many times in the night. It's been years. I don't know when it's going to stop so that I can have a normal sleep, but it's diminishing. Like the attacks that I used to have, I no longer have them, but I'm still hot. And now I have this sensation in my legs. My legs are hot. So that's why you see, even in the cold, I'm not wearing pants, because when they touch me, it's so bad. I don't know if it's still the effect of it, because like they've done all the tests that they can in the hospital. They're not seeing anything. But it's been 10 years. I'm still going through menopause. 10 years. Yeah. It's not the best feeling, right? It's not the best feeling because I'm just wearing this now because it's winter. Normally, all my dresses are always without any hands because I'm just hot. I'm hot. Last week we went for some occasion. It was a party, and I got this heat attack on the floor, and I was almost collapsing. I had to ask somebody. They had to hold me to put me down. So it's not going away. I don't know. 10 years after. So I had this surgery when I was 45, and now I'm 55, but it's still there. Weight gain. Most women gain weight, and I did. I gained weight not immediately after it happened, but in recent, like 2-3 years ago, I just started putting on weight. And when I complained, everybody was like, yeah, at this age. And then I was like, no, I don't want weight. I don't like weight. So I went on a diet and I just brought this down. And you talked at some point about having brain fog. Yeah, but the past 3 years, I was really at some point being like, something is wrong. But when I went on the diet, and it's not medication, I just went on a diet, they call it hyperketosis. So eating just vegetables and proteins and fruits, no carbs. And then, eating at certain intervals. The weight loss went, and my brain opened. First, you have to be mindful of your dressing because dressing has a lot to do. If you put on things that are warm, then it makes the heat to come more. So just dress in a way that you are comfortable. Drink lots of water, lots. Like in the summer, I drink at least 3 liters of water in a day. Because when the heat comes, I sweat out and all of that. And now I drink a little bit less, but not less than 2 in a day. So just dress differently. Keep it in your head that is something that it will go. It's not an illness. It's not a death warrant. It's not something there's no cure, right? There's no cure for it. So just be mentally prepared to deal with it, and just navigate it as much as you can. And talk about it, laugh about it with somebody else who is going through it. So you can see that you're not alone, and you talk about it, you laugh about it. Manage it as much as you can. My mom really suffered from menopause a lot. But I didn't, like you're young and she's like, oh, I'm hot. And I said, what's wrong with her? And I grew up in a culture where the certain things that they don't discuss much, like sex, like menopause, menstruation. Looks like now they do a little bit, but at the time, my mother would not really explain to me what was happening. Is as I was growing up and I got to a certain age that I understood that that's what was really going on with her. And when I became a big girl, I started having children, and then they could discuss it with me. Yeah, my mom was really, really, she suffered the same way because when I was growing up, I knew my mother to be a very healthy woman. And then at some point, she started complaining this heat. I was like, Mom, what's going on? It's cold. Why are you hot? And she would complain. She would sleep in the night, wake up, sit up. But she didn't explain it to me. I think she just thought maybe I would not understand what it meant. Yeah, so But my sister didn't really have that much of a problem, right? And my junior sister right now, she's beginning to get into it, but she's not having the heat flash yet, but she's beginning to, her period is beginning to skip here and there. So I think she's getting there, and she's just praying she doesn't be like me. Yeah, I mean, like everybody who is close to me knows, because if you can't sit with me for 2-3 hours without me at some point being like, whew, and now when you do that, somebody sitting by you say, yeah, I understand, I'm in the same boat. And yeah, so we talk about it openly with everybody. But I also have friends around me who are going through menopause, not feeling anything. Like my very close friend, she's 57 now, and she's finally cut off, but she didn't feel anything. So like, yeah, lucky her. She didn't feel anything. But it's just like I see so many women of my age and above, like at work, we always like, yeah. Maybe if she had discussed it before, maybe I would have understood what it was. Even though at some point I started understanding, and I've lived with people who know about it and they're talking about it. But when it really hit me, like I was not prepared, because I was having normal periods. There was no question of menopause. But then the moment they took my uterus off, that was menopause. So I think that's why mine has been this long or this severe, because it was like one day here and the next day, yeah. So, but I think the more people talk about it, the more people understand. I see now on TikTok men talking about it, like, have you ever been, if your wife starts getting crazy, I just know she's getting to menopause. Have you lived with a woman like this? My wife changed from this to that when this thing started. Yeah, so I think it's more open and people are learning about it. Oh, yeah, they know, especially my daughter. When I go somewhere, the moment I come in, my mother is like, daughter is like, please create space, because my mom, she's hot. She's hot. They'll be like, why are you not dressed this way? She's like, no, she's hot. She's burning. So she just jokes about it, right? She jokes about it. When I go to her house, even my son, if I'm coming, they put the heater off. Yeah, they just put the heater off because they know, Mom, I put the heater off. So sometimes I come and I sit, I'm hot, like, Mom, the heater is off. I say, yeah, I need the window open. Yeah, so they just joke a lot about it. And my friends too, when I go to their house, they be like, oh, Mama Stella is here. We're going to freeze to death here because she's hot. But yeah. Yeah, there's a big difference, because it's a man's society, right? And I think the reason why my mother didn't talk about it so much to us, and why people don't discuss it openly, because it's kind of, you're weak, you're useless, the men will come after you. They would be like, so what is this thing called menopause? You're talking about it too much. I've seen there are other women, like, they don't really, even when women are pregnant, they'll be like, yeah, so you're pregnant, so what? Your mother or my mother, when she used to be pregnant, she did things. So why are you different? Why do you think you should be treated different, right? So most women suffer in silence. Yeah, they suffer in silence. They can only maybe share it with their friends who understand what it is, but they will not openly talk about it, because it would be viewed as weakness, as getting old, and and not being, it's a sign of weakness. Or you're a complainer. Come on, you're a mother. Yeah. Or somebody will say, is that more painful than childbirth? But when it's childbirth, they'll be like, yeah, so what? There are people who've had 10 children, so you're having 2 and you're complaining. Yeah, there's no empathy. In my culture, our older people are our antiques, right? We respect the elderly, but between the age of being a girl, a woman, people don't really respect you so much. But once you've passed a certain age, your elderly people respect you because that's what it's required of everybody. So we respect the elderly, whether woman or man. And as you know, we stay with our parents at home, right? It's not like here that they go to place. First of all, we don't have these facilities. So your elderly parents are your responsibility. So you stay with them. And we do that again because the culture is different. The work-life balance is different. The way children go to school is different because, like in Cameroon, a child who is 5 years leaves the house, just walk. They go to school. The parents don't have to take them. The only time they would take a child to school is when they are maybe in nursery school. What do they call it here? Kindergarten? Yeah. But after that, the children walk to school. And most women don't work. So they have the time to take care of family matters, take care of the elderly parents, or if the parents are living on their own, and we share our children with our parents, right? Like me, I was living with my mom up to a certain age, and my grandmother was alone. I went to live with her. And then when I got to a certain age where I had to go to school, and not just school, like when I say school, I mean like to go to higher university. We didn't have it where my grandmother was, then I left. Then my junior sister came to live with her. So we share our children with our parents. You know what I mean? Like they don't grow only with you. So your children, you give them to go take care of your parent too. It's not like here they'll call it child labor or something, but to us is helping each other out, yeah. I'm looking forward to, dress differently. Dress differently, go to places and just sit like everybody, because I'm always getting up to go outside, because I can't be like now I can't ask people to open the door or the window every time. So I have to go outside and take some air, just feel like me again, like I can't just wait. I just hope this goes away and leaves me alone. Because like I feel like at this point I'm like, 10 years I've done my part. Like just leave me alone. I don't think there's a better way to prepare, right? Because everybody experiences it differently. And preparing, because you can maybe prepare for something that you can prevent or treat it differently, but it's a natural phenomenon. It's just creating awareness for other people, the younger people, so that they know. Because like my daughter, she's now like, oh my God, I hope I don't be like you and my grandma, because this looks like it's just going, So she is mentally prepared now for it. But you only deal with it when you are in it. There's no better way to prepare, right? But at least when you know that it's coming, then you know, okay, someday it will come. And then if it doesn't, okay, good. Yeah. I'll talk about understanding from the people around, because like that erratic behavior that I was having, it was, even me, I was just thinking like, what's going on? And I'd heard before that some women had that. I was thinking, am I crazy or what is going on? If you have that support around you, it helps. Instead of people being like, what is she doing? Why is she complaining so much of heat? It's cold in here. What does she mean she's hot? You know, that's really hurtful, because you're going through this thing, you're feeling it, and somebody is there just dismissing it. No, the support around these changes, because that's like you're talking about someone who says spiritually, so people experience it differently, right? So the change that it brings to people is just a question of understanding, especially if people are married, they're living in couples, their husbands should be understanding. The children should be educated so that they understand too, and just, you know, give you that support if you like, it's too hot in here. And then they could be like, okay, let's lower the temperature, and then we can cover our blankets so that you are comfortable. But if people don't understand, they're not supportive, like, oh mom, no, we are cold, we can't put off the heat. You feel alone, you feel abandoned, and that affects you mentally, right? Yeah. It's been 10 years, and it's been like dealing with an illness for 10 years. I'm a strong person. I've gone through worse, because before I even had the surgery, I'd been having that pain for maybe 8 years or so, and every time they were just treating it, and then it comes back. But if I had to choose, I would rather deal with this heat than the pain that I was experiencing, right? But I experienced that pain, and I went through it. And like I said, I've gone through worse, gone through many things, which I, I, I always feel, and people tell me, especially someone like Lillian, she's like, oh, you are such a strong girl. You do this, you do that. But like, I grew up a fighter. I grew up not in a comfortable situation. So we just learn to work hard. Like I told you, from little, you need to learn how to cook, you need to learn how to clean the plates, you need to, like your mother in Cameroon, our moms don't clean the house. Maybe they clean it when they don't yet have children, but you get to a certain age, that's your job. You clean the house, you clean the plates, she cooks, you wash the pots, she's cooking, you're near her to cook. And that made me that person that I work hard. I don't complain about work. If there's something to do, I do it. I work, and I just really just keep myself working. And I know that's what is carrying me through, you know, like succeeding in this country. The support that I had from people like Lillian and all of the rest really helped me establish myself. And I can say, when I look back from when I came, where I came from, what I went through, and where I am now, whew, that's a big leap. Yeah, it's just been success after success after success after success after success. So yeah, I'm strong. I'm working for myself. I'm working for others. I try to give back to people who are in need, and just because I've been there, so I know how it feels. Yeah. Celebrate it? I don't know. Well, there's an element of celebrate there because when you stop having the monthly thing, yeah, so it's something off your plate, but now you're dealing with this one. And yeah, so sometimes, not just sometimes, there's an element of celebration there because when you have to put on pads every month and do this and do this, and then that's one thing off your plate. Yeah, and you just feel like, because when you grow old and maybe you are left behind in some things, but you talk with women who are in menopause age, you just say, okay, at least I belong somewhere. Even though it's not a very comfortable situation, but like, this is my gang. These are my people. We belong together. We have the same experiences. We know what we're talking about. So, yeah, that's the celebratory part of it. I think I'm going to celebrate when this heat stops. We could get end of menopause.